Well, hello there, welcome back to another Pokemon Master video. Today we're going to be tackling Ghost Tower, floors 21 to 29. We're going to start with a model Ghost Tower floor 27. Alright, we're going to go through this kind of quickly here. So first off, you just want to start off the fight. We are not using Volo. That's the thing about this fight, we're not using Volo. We are using a Variety Cynthia, and Variety Cynthia is good because she can do a team-wide flinch. Here you have Fatina Dusknoir with Steel Guard. Steel Guard is going to be important for survivability. You also want to reset her Never Give Up, Never Give You Up, or whatever her trainer move is. You want to get that refreshed, because if you don't get it refreshed, then you're not going to survive this fight. You'll notice that their Fantina is 3 out of 5 copies. Mine is actually only 2 out of 5 copies. However, it is possible to complete this fight with only Fatina at 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 5 copies, as you see in my run, right? But again, you want Never Give You Up going to refresh there. And then after the first sync you're going to do is with Variety Cynthia, and then you also want to use a trainer move to accelerate the sync move countdown to be able to sync with Fantina decently quickly on the second sync. After this, you get a bunch of the support sync move buff. And of course, this floor you can only deal physical damage, so that's why you notice that none of the enemies have taken much damage, because you're only gonna be doing damage from Renegade Cynthia sync move. Here they use Sinnoh Circle. Sinnoh Circle makes it so that you take less damage. So I suspect that the reason they use it this early is so that they take less sync move damage here. I delayed my Sinnoh Circle. Again, despite having Fatina at lower investment, I technically do have her at level 200. This person, I think, had them at level 180. And so it's just whether or not you want to, for survivability, you want to summon Sinnoh Circle early so that you take less damage on your Fatina. But for damage, you want to delay that Sinnoh Circle. Here, they do a bunch of damage with Renegade Cynthia. You'll also notice that they flinch here too. So again, you have AoE flinching. The first time you AoE flinch is at the start of the fight, and the second time you do it right after your sync move. Here you notice that with Renegade Cynthia, if you've lowered the Tingatonk's defense all the way down, you want to start attacking the side Pokemon to lower their defense. You'll see in my fight that I had to, like, the side Pokemon for me took way longer to knock out than they did. They also use Ghost Zone a little bit early here too. You'll notice that they'll use it here. Again, you just have to think about when you want to time your Sinnoh Circle and Ghost Circle. How they time their Sinnoh Circle here, they use their Sinnoh Circle and it's not gonna buff their next sync move because they use it really early. So again, it's the trade-off of they're using it early here so that they can take less damage, because Fatina has the sync grid tile in which she takes less damage if they circle up. So that's why they use Sinnoh Solidarity early here. But again, I needed to push out extra damage, and so I used it a little bit later. Here again, just using Mini Potion All. You kinda, Tinkatalk doesn't use any AoE damage, so the only damage that is AoE is from the first sync move. So you want to heal it up with Mini Potion All twice. Again, you'll notice that even despite having Fatina at 3 out of 5 copies, their Sinnoh Circle did not refresh, and their Mini Potion All didn't refresh as well. So that's why I say it's technically possible to do this fight at 2 out of 5 copies. And as you see in my run, I did it, even though I have different investments of a bunch of Pokemon. Here, yeah, again, you just want to keep just attacking to lower the sync move countdown. Sync move cheeses in with Renegade Cynthia is super nice, because that way you'll be able to use a sync move in only 2 waves of moves instead of 3 waves of moves, which definitely helps. Here, Ghost Circle is running out. Again, with them, they seem to use Ghost Circle a little bit earlier than I did. I kind of delayed my Ghost Circle. And with the second sync move, you should be able to survive it if you use Never Give Up twice. If you only had Never Give Up once, then your Renegade Cynthia will die. And so that's why it's important to get that refresh. They missed their crit here on their sync move, so that's why they are a little bit behind, but that's okay. Because their Fatina is 3 out of 5 copies, they have Endurance. You'll see in my run, I don't have Endurance on my Fatina. So that's super nice. Here we get that flinch off with Variety Cynthia, and then with Renegade Cynthia we're actually going to use Shadow Force here for the first time in a fight. Shadow Force just going to push out a little bit extra normal move damage. Again, it's nice if you have that under Ghost Zone, but they didn't because they kind of used their Ghost Zone a little bit early. Keep in mind that Tinkertalk will be taking burn damage and trap damage the entire fight, which is good chip damage. And then here, they just finish off the fight. So pretty simple. In terms of the Model 27, I did kind of follow this. Again, my Fatina and my Variety Cynthia investments are a little bit different. So my sequencing ended up being a little bit different. But anyways, let's just talk about that run. The main thing is I'm using those 3 characters that you just saw in that model run. I'm using Renegade Cynthia, I'm using Variety Cynthia, and I'm using Jim Fantina. So let's just go ahead and talk about the character that doesn't change that much in the entire run, which is Renegade Cynthia. Renegade Cynthia, when she released, she was like one of the first Master Fairs to release, and she was like one of the first characters to summon Zone. And so at low investment, she is not very good because again, she's a older character, and her Zone is really bad because it doesn't get extended unless you have her at like 5 out of 5 copies. Once you have her at 5 out of 5 copies, she summons Ghost Zone when she uses an attack the first time. She summons Ghost Zone when she sinks for the first time, and she also extends Ghost Zone. And her extension for Ghost Zone is like super long. And so like if you don't have her at 5 out of 5 copies, she's really unimpressive in my opinion. But once you have her at 5 out of 5 copies, then she starts to be a really good field summoner, despite not even having a field roll or EX roll. So she's super nice there. If you have, so the thing is, I should talk a little bit more about my run. I haven't completed floor 30 yet. At the time of recording this, I haven't completed floor 30 yet. I just want to push out this video as soon as I can so that I have less storage on my laptop, because I suspect that I'm going to be using a lot of storage on my laptop attempting floor 30. But I do not have Volo. So if you have Master Fair Volo with Giratina with EX Ghost Zone, Ghost Tower in my opinion is very, very simple because he has EX Ghost Zone. He does a ton of physical damage. So Volo's a beast. If you have Volo, you can complete floor 30 even with 1 out of 5 Volo. Like Volo's that good. Obviously you're gonna need really good support staff. Support staff being Renegade Cynthia, Variety Cynthia, Jim Fantina. Also Neo Champion Celine is great as well. So that's basically the traditional support staff that you use around Volo. And any combination of those characters with Volo is really strong. But again, if you have Volo, it's really, in my opinion, Ghost Tower should be really easy. That being said though, I never rolled for Volo during 6-year anniversary, and so I'm attempting the no Volo Ghost Tower. It's possible to complete Ghost Tower without Volo, but you need Variety Cynthia, and you need high investment Renegade Cynthia, and you need Jim Fantina. So you need this exact same team that you're seeing on camera right now in order to complete Ghost Tower. So it's very difficult if you don't have Volo, but it is possible, and I will be attempting the no Volo run just because I don't want to roll for Volo because it's gonna be a while until he reruns. I didn't roll for him the first time, and so I'm forced to do a no Volo run, unfortunately. But yeah, because I don't have Volo, Renegade Cynthia is the only character that can do damage on the floors where I need physical damage. And the problem with Renegade Cynthia is that she doesn't have a good way of doing normal damage except from sync moves, and so you're relying on syncing with her to do sync move damage. Fortunately, she does have the tech, or she does have the strike EX roll, because she's normally a tech unit, and then she has the strike EX roll, which means that she actually does a decent amount of sync move damage. Now she isn't doing as much sync move damage as Anniversary N, but she does do a good amount of damage, and alongside Sinnoh Circle that you have with Fantina, she can do a good amount of damage. And yeah, her sync move, that's how you do it. That's how you clear the physical force. You do sync moves, and then toward the end of the fight you can go ahead and use a Shadow Force or 2 because at that point your Shadow Force would have plus 10 physical up next effect, because you're just summoning so many ghost circles and from her sync grid and stuff like that. So yes, for the Volo-less run, you need 5 out of 5 Cynthia to complete the physical floors, and honestly to complete all the floors. She's very important. The other important character I have that you need for Volo-less, again, there might be another way to complete Ghost Tower without Volo, but as far as the in-game replays and as far as what I've seen so far, it's Variety Cynthia is going to be the main key to defeating Ghost Tower without Volo. Now, Variety Cynthia, unfortunately, she's one of those characters that's just really hard to get. She's a variety character, so it's like, if you didn't roll for her on her banner, then it's like, you have to roll for her for like mixed scouts, or like if she reruns somehow. So, unfortunately, like, you can argue that, you know, Variety Cynthia is as hard to get as Volo. And honestly, probably more people have Volo than they do Variety Cynthia. But I just happened to roll for Variety Cynthia because, you know what, she was a Cynthia character, and I'm like, you know what, I literally haven't rolled for a single variety character because I just don't like the concept of variety characters. But you know what, I'm like, Variety Cynthia, I'll just might as well roll for her. And lucky that I did, because again, she's the main piece of Ghost Tower. The reason why she's so strong is that she does AoE flinch. I mentioned this last Pokemon Master video, but anything that can AoE flinch is really good. Again, nudge nudge, hint hint at the final piece, the final character that I need on my account to finish Pasio Tower. But again, AoE flinching is incredibly strong, because while single flinching is strong in the sense that you can chain flinching, so that's why Signal Suit Lyra is really good, AoE flinching will always buy you extra moves. I will admit that Variety Cynthia's flinching isn't the greatest, because a lot of times you actually AoE flinch and you literally can't even put in another move, just because her move animation just takes forever, and at the time her move animation ends, sometimes they already recover from flinch before you can even input a move in. So Variety Cynthia has one of the worst flinching, kind of one of the worst flinching in the game, but it, you know, it is what it is. It's AoE flinching nevertheless. And her move just does a ton of damage too. You can also get cheeky, which you'll see in Ghost Tower 30 if I do it. You can also get cheeky with her buddy move that does AoE flinching. Is if you stack the special up next effect, then you can dish out a ton of damage. Her sync move doesn't do as much damage as her normal move, so that's why like that buddy normal move is really strong. Not only does she AoE flinch, but she applies burn, trapped, and confuse on top of the flinch. So she applies all these status changes and conditions, which makes her the obvious choice to use on floors where you need to inflict status condition or status changes. On floors where she needs to inflict status condition or changes, she is incredible, because you inflict burn, and then all of a sudden you take less physical damage. You do damage, burn doesn't wear out. You also do a bunch of chip damage with burn on top of trapped. And so, again, in terms of utility, if you're not going to use her for damage, in terms of utility, she's great as well. Her trainer move increases her special attack, but it doesn't fully increase her special attack. So that's why Fantina is super important on this team, because with Fantina and Variety Cynthia, you're able to fully raise special attack, even if there's no refreshes. And her buddy move or her trainer move also lowers the sync move count up by 2, which is super good. Again, just being able to, if you time it correctly, you're able to use a sync move a turn earlier, which is super nice. And yeah, the problem with Variety Cynthia, okay, is if you want to complete, again, I haven't completed floor 30 at the time recording this because it's very RNG based, and I'll talk about that later. But if you want to complete Ghost 30, I believe you have to 5 out of 5 your Variety Cynthia. And Variety Cynthia hurts to 5 out of 5 because she's a sprint character, and so you're going to need to use sprint candies, which is a lot harder to get than, for example, strike, tech, or support candies. So you're going to need to use 4 sprint candies. And the thing is, she doesn't even unlock extra tiles at 4 out of 5 copies or 5 out of 5 copies. All she does is you get a little bit of extra damage from her buddy Shadow Ball, which is significant. You want that extra damage so that you want that extra damage so that you do extra damage, because that move is very powerful. But also you get extra sync grid tiles in which you can expand her sync grid and make it a little bit better. You'll notice that after 426, I upgraded her to 5 out of 5 copies just for her to do extra damage. And again, you need her at 5 out of 5 copies. From what I've seen, you need her at 5 out of 5 copies if you want to complete Ghost Floor 30 without Volo. Again, it's it's a crazy run. It's a very high investment run, and you need very specific characters, but that's the cost that you have to pay if you don't want to use Volo. So Variety Cynthia is incredibly strong on floors where I can't do physical damage. Like, I'm losing a lot of damage from Renegade Cynthia because her sync move does do a lot of damage, but Renegade Cynthia still uses Shadow Ball, so she does still get chip damage in, but most of your damage is going to be coming from Variety Cynthia, of course. The last main piece to the puzzle is Fantina. So Fantina is, I think she's the best gym support, like the gym scout that you get from being in a gym, and then you get tickets to scout for characters. Unfortunately, she's volume 3, and I think volume 3 has only been has only been ran once or twice. I think it's only once. So the chance of you having Fantina is not the highest compared to the other characters, and at the time of recording this, they haven't reran it yet either. So you might not have Fantina. They are running gym events, and so you'll be able to have a chance at her, but she is another key piece to the puzzle. She is probably the best support character for Ghost Tower, funny enough, even because she's a free character. That's why it's funny. But she's really strong in a lot of different ways. So she has Sinnoh Circle. So Sinnoh Circle is strong in the sense that you're using her alongside Cynthia, and so that Sinnoh Circle technically does, extra damage because you're fully utilizing it because you're using 3 Sinnoh characters, right? And that's where you're gonna push in damage. Now the thing is, my Fantina is only 2 out of 5 copies, and I thought that I would need to upgrade her to 3 out of 5 copies specifically for 27. Again, that replay that I showed you on floor 27, use 3 out of 5 Variety Cynthia, 5 out of 5 Renegade Cynthia, and 3 out of 5 Fantina. Now I completed that floor, spoilers, with 5 out of 5 Variety Cynthia, which you might not need 5 out of 5 Variety Cynthia. I just upgrade her to 5 out of 5 because I'm gonna use her 5 out of 5 for floor 30 anyways. So I'm like, you know what, I'll just upgrade it early here, just who knows, it might help a little bit, right? And then I thought I needed 3 out of 5 Fantina, and so I'm like, okay, I might need to wait next month because I don't want to spend a support candy on Fantina because she's a free character, and I don't want to spend a support character or support candies because right now I really need to focus on spending those support candies on Special Costume Larry, which I do not have yet, and Penny, which I need 5 out of 5 copies of Penny in order to complete Fairy Tower. And so I'm like, I don't want to spend extra support candies on Fantina, especially since I might not even be able to complete Flying Tower, and so there's no point in spending candies on Fantina because I will be able to probably get her next month. However, after looking at that Model 27 replay, like I said, I noticed that they didn't refresh Sinnoh Circle and they didn't refresh Mini Potion All. And honestly, they didn't even need Endurance, because they could have completed that run if Fantina died without the Endurance. And so by looking at that run and analyzing it, I realized that I really don't need Fantina at level, I don't need her at 3 out of 5 copies. 2 out of 5 copies theoretically should be enough. And what I did was I upgraded Fantina to level 200. You do not need to upgrade Fantina to level 200 throughout the entire run. That being said though, I did just to make her a little bit tankier for better consistency in my runs. At this point, like I mentioned, I only have a few towers left. I have so much extra plaques of perfection that I'm kind of using them loosely. Just keep in mind that for Fantina, you don't need her at level 200. I think that you should be fine with her level 180 as long as your other key characters are level 200. Like Volo probably doesn't even need to be level 200, but you probably want it to level 200 Volo, Variety Cynthia, of course, like level 200 is really strong, and then Renegade Cynthia, level 200 is really strong too. But yeah, regardless, that's what I'm trying to say is, if you had Fatina at 3 out of 5 copies or higher, then of course she gets a lot of extra bits on her kit. She can refresh mini potion all. She can refresh Sinnoh Circle. Refreshing Sinnoh Circle, not only does it make it so that you do extra damage from Sinnoh Circle being up, but like I mentioned, Fatina takes less damage from Sinnoh Circle because she has that single tire where she takes less damage if she's in circle. Also, Sinnoh Circle applies the special up next effect and the physical up next effect, which again is super strong if you're pairing it with any character, just to squeeze out that extra little bit of damage. And so Sinnoh Circle refresh is super strong in a lot of sense. And then Endurance, again, Endurance on Fatina is super strong. But I have her at 2 out of 5 copies, and at 2 out of 5 copies, the most important thing at 2 out of 5 copies is that she gets Never Give Up refresh. And Never Give Up refresh is very important because what that does is it raises your defense and special attack. Now, raising defense and special defense is important for survivability. Again, Gym Fatina is technically a free character, so she isn't going to be the strongest of your tanks. You also you can't really apply gradual healing. I mean, you can with Synchro tiles, but normally you won't have gradual healing on your Cynthias. And so having Fatina be able to raise their defenses so that you can just mini potion all to heal them is important. So Never Give Up, you'll notice that, for example, floor 27, you need Never Give Up refresh twice. Or I'm sorry, you need a refresh once so that you have enough defense to survive that second sync move. And Never Give Up is, in that sense, super important to raise your defense and special defense. More importantly, for floor 30, Never Give Up refresh also raises special attack, which means that you'll be able to raise Variety Cynthia special attack all the way up. And if you raise Variety Cynthia's special attack all the way up with 2 Never Give Up refreshes, 2 refreshes mean that you're able to use it 3 times, which means that you're able to, fully buff your special attack. If that happens, then you're able to save her trainer move and use that trainer move later. And the reason why you want to save Variety Cynthia's trainer move is because it reduces the sync move count up by 2, and so you're able to time things better, right? And yes, indeed. So that's the main thing about Fatina. Again, I have her at 3 out of 5. I have her at 2 out of 5 copies, but if you have her at 3 out of 5 copies, she's really good. Another thing about Fatina, again, because she isn't the best tank, this run, unfortunately, if you're a veteran player, this shouldn't be a problem. But if you're a new player, you really need guards. You need the lucky skill, or you need the guard lucky skills in order for her to take less damage. And so you need Chewy lucky cookies. And unfortunately, the Chewy lucky cookies can only be farmed by doing Battle Villa. And you have to you only get 1 or 2 cookies if you do entire Battle Villa. So you have to keep on farming Battle Villa, which sucks. Or you have to go deep in Legendary Gauntlet events. So Legendary Gauntlet events, if you go deep in them, you have a chance of getting the Chewy lucky cookies. But again, you have to do plus 10 runs, and so it's really rough. In order, if you want to get a lot of those Chewy lucky cookies, you can only really get them 2 ways. There is a free way that you can get them, but you have to farm a lot. And then there's an event where you can get them. But you'll notice throughout the entire run that I'm using these guard lucky skills so that Fatina just takes less damage, right? I went through Fairy, I went through Rock, I went through Steel, especially I went through Normal. Normal is funny because she actually has Normal Guard on her sync grid, so you can have 2 Normal Guards. Bug, you notice in the previous run I had Bug Guard, and so yeah, unfortunately you will need guards, the guard lucky skills. You don't need them on the earlier floors, but on the later floors Fatina needs to tank, and so you're gonna need that. Because, last thing I should mention is because I'm using her Fatina with Variety Cynthia, her Astonish, I actually don't want it to flinch, because if my Fatina Astonish flinches, then the timing with Variety Cynthia's Shadow Ball to AoE flinch becomes very awkward. However, if you're using Fatina normally, like if you're using her without Variety Cynthia, then her flinching from Astonish can be very important, and it could be a good way of stalling in the fight. She also gets aggravation in her sync grid, which again allows her to flinch more consistently. So if you're not using Variety Cynthia, then you can go ahead and use aggravation on Fatina for better flinching and stuff like that. So again, Fatina is just, as a free character, she's a really strong support for Ghost Tower, and again, I'll be attempting to complete it with her at 2 out of 5 copies, but just know at 3 out of 5 copies she is so much better. And don't forget, you can Super Awaken her. So if you're fancying and you want to Super Awaken her, that is possible, and I'm sure Super Awaken Fatina is just super strong, so that's another thing. Unfortunately, I have to talk about one more character because, yes, on floor 28, I ended up using a different character. Renegade Cynthia is strong, but on floors where the enemy can only take special attack, it might be better to not use Cynthia. And so I probably should have done this more in the run, but I didn't really need to because Variety Cynthia is so strong. But I ended up using Neo Champion Celine on one floor, which is floor 28. And the reason why I use Celine on this floor is because without Renegade Cynthia, again, I'm missing a lot of sync move damage and stuff like that, and so I needed extra damage in just raw damage, right? The problem with Neo Champion Celine compared to Renegade Cynthia is, or for one thing, my Celine is only 2 out of 5 copies. So being at 2 out of 5 copies, she doesn't really get that many extra tiles, to be fair. But what she does get is a Lola Circle. She gets a Lola Circle from her buddy move, which her buddy move is able to reduce the sync move countdown by 2 and summon a Lola Circle, which is nice because reducing the sync move countdown 2, if you time it correctly, then you get to use the sync move early. She also is able to summon Ghost Zone twice at 2 out of 5 copies. The first time she summons it is with her sync move, and so what that means is that if you're going to be using her instead of Renegade Cynthia, what you probably want to do is you want to use a sync move with your Variety Cynthia, and then use a sync move with Fatina to summon to summon Ghost Zone, and then you're going to go ahead and sync with Neo Champion Celine to summon Ghost Zone. And obviously you'll need her EX roll unlocked to summon Ghost Zone, right? And then after you summon Ghost Zone, she actually reduced the sync move countdown by 3 because she's a sprint, right? And then you'll be able to sync with your Variety Cynthia for a ton of damage, and then you'll be able to perhaps be able to sync again because of, you know, the sprint and the timing of everything. And then you'll be able to summon Ghost Zone one more time with Neo Champion Celine's buddy move, and that move, her buddy move, Neo Champion Celine's buddy move, also does a ton of damage because it's one of those one-time move that does a bunch of damage, and it also not only does it summon Ghost Zone, but does it summon Ghost Zone? I'm reading it right now. I'm pretty sure it summons Ghost Zone. Am I crazy? I might be tripping, guys. I might be tripping. I'm reading her kit right now on like my iPad. Maybe it doesn't summon Ghost Zone. For some reason, I was under an impression that it summoned Ghost Zone. Huh, maybe not. Maybe the only way she can summon Ghost Zone is with her sync. Well, if that's the case, then you want to use her buddy move early so that she summons Ghost Zone, or that you get that damage in Ghost Zone. Whoa, I thought that her buddy move. Okay, well, anyways. Yeah, her buddy move is strong because it lowers the sync move countdown by 3. And, yeah, oh, very strange. Okay, so maybe Celine isn't as good as I thought she was. Again, I don't know her kit at 3 out of 5 copies. I've never upgraded her to 3 out of 5 copies for a reason, because apparently if I don't have a character upgraded to 3 out of 5 copies, that just means that I don't think that 3 out of 5 copies is good. And so that's why my Celine is at 2 out of 5 copies, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I did on that floor 28, but I felt like I needed Celine instead of Renegade Cynthia for extra damage. And again, that ghost zone that she summons when she sinks, and a Lolo circle that she summons, and just the raw damage that she does is just good. And so yeah, if you had Celine like at high investment, and if you had Volo, then it would be easy to complete the run. Also, I did eventually get Elio, so Mixed Scout Elio, which is the other physical ghost attacker besides Volo and Renegade Cynthia. But I didn't find him as useful as the support that I get with Variety Cynthia, and so that's why even though I have him at 3 out of 5 copies, even over, he just didn't find a place in my Ghost Tower run. I guess another thing I should mention, again, I mentioned everyone's level 200 because extra damage and extra HP to survive with Fantina. I also have all the EX rolls unlocked. That shouldn't even need to be said at this point. It's like, yeah, you need to invest in a lot of resources to upgrade these characters. And yeah, that's kind of it. I've mentioned this multiple times, but floor 30 for Ghost Tower without Volo is very RNG. You know, floor 27 took me a while to complete. It didn't take me as long as Fairy 27, but Ghost 27 ended up taking a lot of attempts to defeat. But Ghost Tower floor 30 is very difficult. The reason why Ghost Tower 30 is difficult is with the model run that I'm using that doesn't use Volo, Fatina needs to get an opening flinch from her Astonish, and that flinch is only like 30% without being 3 out of 5 copies. Keep in mind that floor 30 run that defeated them without Volo used only 2 out of 5 Fatina, and so literally with my character and my setup right now, I should be able to complete floor 30. It's just going to take a lot of RNG. First, you need the opening flinch. You need the opening flinch from Astonish. Okay, and then after that, you're going to need not 1, but 2 refreshes of Never Give Up. The reason why you want 2 refreshes is so that you have max defense. You want max defense so that you can tank in all the moves that Lugia and Suicune and Celebi will be using. Okay, I'm watching this replay and I noticed that I must have edited the video wrong, because like I'm resetting a bunch of times for Ghost Tower. Huh. Let me watch this replay, because I'm sorry that I thought I had edited out all my failed attempts. This is really strange. Hopefully this is the run. I'm gonna skip a little bit. Yeah, so I'm sorry guys, I must have messed up my editing and I included a few too many failed runs. But that's okay. You guys can see the process of what it takes to complete Ghost Tower. I reset a few times. Again, floor 27 took a lot of resets, but yeah, what I said was you need opening flinch with Astonish. You need Never Give Up to refresh twice so that you fully max out your defense, and you also fully max out your special attack so that you don't need to use Variety Cynthia's trainer move early. You can save that for when you want to accelerate that sync move countdown instead of raising her special attack. And then final thing is you need to survive that second sync move. That second sync move, you need, to be exact, you need Variety Cynthia to survive. If your Renegade Cynthia dies, it seems to be okay, but your Variety Cynthia needs to be alive to finish the fight. And so that's the difficult thing about that run, is I talked about it multiple times, but those are the layers of RNG. You need opening flinch, you Never Give Up to refresh twice, and then you need to not die to the second sync move. On top of that, obviously there's a lot of run RNG, so you need to make sure you don't mess up during the fight. You need to make sure your flinch timings are on point. You need to make sure the Astonish doesn't accidentally flinch anybody, because you want the AoE flinch. And yeah, you need to make sure that you don't get random flinch. Keep in mind that your Fatina does have vigilance during that fight. You're not using Flying Guard or Ice Guard or Water Guard during that fight. You're just actually using vigilance to make sure that your Fatina doesn't get critted randomly throughout the fight or critted with that second sync move. So fortunately, there is a little bit of safeguard to RNG with the vigilance on Fatina. But yeah, that fight is incredibly luck base, because not only is it luck base at the beginning, because you need to reset a bunch of times so that you get that astonish trigger and that never give up refresh 2 times, but there's also RNG at the end of the fight, because you need to survive that second sync move, which is like 50% I believe that you survive and 50% you don't survive with Variety Cynthia. And so yeah, that's why that fight's tough, is because if there was only RNG at the end of the fight, then that means, you know, the beginning you can just keep throwing runs until you get a good run with RNG at the end of the fight. But if you need RNG at the beginning of the fight, that's also okay as well, because you can just keep resetting the beginning of the fight. Usually resetting at the beginning of fight for, you know, the flinch and double refreshes shouldn't take more than like 30 a minute to reset every run. Every failed run would probably take only like a minute to reset, and if you miss the flinch, then it's even a faster reset, right? But because you need RNG at the beginning and end of the fight, that means that any fight that looks hopeful at the beginning, you're gonna need to push through at the end, but it's no guarantee. It's like a 50% that you get crit anyway. So that's why I've been afraid of Ghost Tower Floor 30 like since forever. But you know what, at this point I'm at it, I should be able to complete it, so I'm just gonna throw a bunch of taps at it, and I'll get back to you how long it takes me to do. So anyways, thank you for watching, you beautiful the way you are, and look forward to Ghost Tower Floor 30. I'm not sure when I'm gonna post it, because I need to do other stuff on top of just doing the run itself. And again, it's gonna be the most RNG run that I'm gonna do since the start, so we'll see how it goes. So it might not be the next video, but I'll try to make it quick. So again, thanks for watching, you beautiful the way you are, and enjoy the rest of this run, and get excited for Ghost Tower Floor 30, Vololess of course.
We shined the brightest.
Let's do this. Let's go.
This is it. Here we go.
I've got this.
Yeah. Go. This is it. Now's my chance.
Leave it to me.
Whee! This is it. Whee! On it!
Unleash your power.
This is it. Whee!
Let's see what you can do. This.
Now! Whee!
Unleash your power. Unleash your power.
Now. Now. This is it.
Unleash your power.
Admit defeat. This is it.
Don't understand.
What an enthralling battle.
Let's start the show. Come on. This is it. Here we go. Let's finish this. Quickly. Here we go. Take it away. This is it. Leave it to me. Take it away. Now. Take it away. Now's my chance. Take it away. Go for it. This is it. Take it away. Let's battle. Here we go. Go! Now! Go! Go! This is it. This is it. Quit. Take it away. This is it. Quickly. Take it away. Now. Go for it. This is it. How's this? Quickly. Go! Take it away. This is it. Beautiful.